Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our review of Angel or Alien by Born of Osiris. So, Angel or Alien, we've been listening to this album all week non-stop, and I guess I'll take the floor here and say I quite enjoyed it. And it's interesting because this album is an hour long, or a little over an hour long. It's quite long, but honestly, it blew by every time I threw it on.
Yeah.
Like, it was really quick. And you can see that one of two ways. You can see that, it wasn't interesting enough, it just whatever, things blend together, or like I was having a good enough time with it that, it just kind of went. And I feel like for me, it's the case of the latter. I was generally enjoying this album every time I put it on. One of the biggest things I was finding, and I guess this is just a testament to the riffing on this album, is that I'm just like bouncing and headbanging to this album so many times. There are so many songs that something nasty happened, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is the good shit. And it happened when I was giving focused listens, and it happened when I was just throwing it on. I was working on something, part comes on, like the breakdown in Threat of Your Presence, which is probably one of my favorite songs on the album, and I just think, oh, this is fucking sick. So I feel like they really hit the nail on the head here with making this album more accessible, but still sounding like Born of Osiris. They still have all the weird kind of techno sounds.
The
synthy stuff, that's still there, but it's a lot easier to follow. Because you look at something like their last record, which we did review, The Simulation, that one had a lot of weirder stuff, a lot more complex stuff, and stuff that was maybe a bit more confusing. This one's a lot more straightforward, but there's no problem with that. I feel like the album still works front to back. I feel like there's a really good contour with this album because, in the beginning, you kind of have a mix of stuff. Poster Child's a bit more of a melodic kind of thing. White Nile's a little bit more aggressive. Angel or Alien a bit more melodic, and then Waves is like that as well. But then Oathbreaker, Threat of Your Presence, harder stuff, Love Story softer. Like, you're really going back and forth, up and down with the levels and the emotions on this album. I really like that. And then you get all the way to the end, Shadowborn, which is a really, really pretty song. And I love that, and we mentioned this last week, that you had the saxophone at the very end of Poster Child, the first track, and then the last track, the saxophone has more presence, has a solo. Like, that's a really good way to end the album.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people, we read all the comments and everything like that, talk to people, this and that. A lot of people are saying this album was kind of just like, meh, nothing special. Meh, it is what it is. And I kind of feel where those people are coming from, because when you listen to this album, like, just put it on and play it, it really doesn't sound like anything that special until you really start kind of dissecting it. If you really pay attention to what's going on, I feel like there are some special things on this album. At least they were special to me, because I don't really, off the top of my head, can't think of, I shouldn't say off the top of my head, because I thought about this throughout the week. I couldn't think of any album that did stuff like in Angel or Alien, where they have the dual melody going on. And I'm not just talking about two instruments playing the melody, I'm talking about two different melodies happening at the same time. That to me sounded very unique and very special. But when you listen to the song, it just sounds like a song. You gotta really pay attention to what they're doing to realize, hey, something's going on here that's not really normal. And you gotta give credit for things like that. At least I like to give credit for things like that. Another thing on top of that I think is prevalent on this entire album is the drum work is exceptionally good. It's not just standard typical drums. Does he do anything that's completely mind-blowing? No, not really. Is there anything that's super, technically advanced? Not that I noticed, but it's got so much style to it. There's so much flair behind it, and he does things like that just break up the pace of the rhythm so much that it makes the songs sound really good, and it just makes it feel like you're not listening to the same old thing over and over again, which again, a lot of bands fall into these pits where that happens. An example of that is in White Nile, which was probably my top rated song and my first impressions, and it's still, I think, probably the best song on the album. But I love how he'll be playing his standard beat groove for the song, the song, and then he'll throw in like 16th notes all of a sudden for the second half of a bar. That to me is cool. Or he'll do something like he'll throw in a couple 16th note triplets and then finish off the bar with 16th note runs. Like, just things like that just make the whole thing just sound more flavorful, 2 thumbs up in my book for things like that. I like that you mentioned the saxophone again, because I don't think this could be mentioned enough. The saxophone touches at the end of Poster Child grew on me a lot. Poster Child is a song that actually grew on me. It wasn't my favorite at the beginning, but I like that song. It's cool. And when the saxophone hits near the end, I'm like, this is like really nice. And I just love the fact that it's put in there as an ominous prelude, I guess you could say, to Shadowmourn. Shadowmourn went into my playlist. It's an awesome song, as Stevie Fish said. It's very pretty sounding. I agree. But that saxophone solo alone sells me on that song. Because not every day you hear a saxophone solo, especially in metal. I mean, you hear it from time to time. Friggin' Rivers of Nihil had saxophone stuff in their stuff. That's the last I can remember specifically.
The Faceless also had a bit of saxophone
Faceless
in
has saxophone.
Autotheism.
Exactly. So you do hear from time to time. In this one, it caught me. I was like, you know what? This is beautiful. This is going on my playlist.
It is a really rare thing. Another thing that's really cool that connects this album, I don't know if you noticed this, I know you don't really look at lyrics very often, but in Angel or Alien, during the hook, they say lost inside my head. In Waves, in the pre-chorus, he says something like, you weren't there when I was lost in my head. Yeah. That directly just correlates the songs lyrically, and I didn't look that much into the rest of the lyrics for the album, but I'm sure there's a lot of links between things lyrically, and that just makes it even better woven together. It's a really well put together album in that sense.
Yeah, and I thought in my first impressions, I thought maybe Angel or Alien could have been tied to Truth and Denial, and I did look at the lyrics of those songs. I didn't really analyze them deeply, so I couldn't really find much connection there personally, but I also looked at the lyrics for White Nile and thought they were pretty good. Very well written. I know that's kind of a bland thing to say, but I don't really know how to make it sound better, but it's very poetic, which a lot of lyrics are. But a lot of lyrics are also very kind of 5th grader-ish, I find. I
find these lyrics for this record are very personal sounding.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of it really feels like it's coming from the heart.
Yep.
And there's a lot of emotion with the lyrics that are written on this album, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, and the thing with lyrics like that is a lot of people can relate to it.
Exactly.
Right? Because stuff that's from the heart, I mean, a lot of people can relate to a lot of different things, and you interpret things a lot of different ways. So, I don't remember, I didn't write any of the lyrics down, I don't remember them, but I was reading the lyrics for White Nile, and some of the words he was writing there and singing there, I was trying to remember what they were. But to me, it felt like he was maybe on the edge, on the edge of suicide kind of thing. But fighting it, trying to ground himself and stay back. But there was one line, I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember, I suck at things like this, so I'm just gonna skip that. My favorite songs on the album, let me just talk about that. Poster Child, White Nile, Angel or Alien, Lost Souls was really good, and Shadowmourn. So Lost Souls, it's a good one. It's kind of got this EDM vibe to it. It's a little bit more on the electronic side than other songs. It's not EDM and it's not electronic, but it's just more so than the other songs. But the solo in this song is what made it one of my top songs. It's got a really good solo in it compared to the other ones. So that was a song I was gravitating towards quite a bit throughout the week, Lost Souls.
Yeah, I kept finding myself listening to this record and a song would be on, I'd be like, oh, what is that one? That part's sick. And I kept finding a bunch of similar songs. A lot of the heavier ones kind of did that for me, standing out, In for the Kill, Threat of Your Presence, Truth and Denial. But overall, I was enjoying so many moments of this album. Even the lighter stuff like Waves. Angel or Alien is still one of my favorite songs on the entire album. That's an incredibly made song. Yeah, it's just I feel like it's a really well-rounded album, all things considered.
Yeah, I think you made a good point right at the beginning too. When you said it's a long album, a little over an hour long, but it doesn't feel that long. That to me is a major plus. Mm-hmm. Because long albums tend to feel long.
Exactly.
Right?
This doesn't.
There's no interludes. There's no intro track. There's no outro track. It's just 14 fully done songs.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel long. And I never even realized that listening to it. I just breezed through it so much.
You know what? I didn't think about that. There's no intros, there's no outros, there's no interludes. It's just, here's the song. That's it. and it's over an hour long, but you'd never realize that because all the songs are just good.
So let's rate Angel or Alien. I'll go first. I think this is, as TV Fish said, a really well-rounded album. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs I really like, and the other 9 songs are still really good. I think I should give this album my toe tag. I was kind of on the fence with it going into this review, but I think I convinced myself, and the things TV Fish said also helped convince me that it's a toe tag album, because there's really nothing bad about it at all. It's a solid album from beginning to end. And there's little things sprinkled throughout that if you pay attention, you're going to notice some special things about it. So if you think it's just a meh album, everything's the same, blah, 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 I think you really need to give it a more proper listen, to be honest.
Well, that's very well said. I mean, I'm going to match that score against my toe tag as well. I think it's just a great album through and through. As a Born of Osiris fan, I'm really happy with this. I feel like this was better than The Simulation, because I'm really glad that this band took their sound and evolved it.
Yeah.
They did something different, but they still sounded like themselves, and they made it work overall. So I think this is just a great release from this band, and I'm really happy with it. So, 2 toe tags for Angel or Alien.
Yes, sir.
It's been a while since a new release on this channel has gotten 2 toe tags. So I'm glad that, I guess the drought has been broken with such a great album from Born of Osiris. So remember to check this album out if you haven't. And anyways, that's all we got for you today. Remember to like this video if you like it, and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm by myself.
And keep those horns up.